Now that's Huggie Pacino certified.
I've seen that dude before.
What's up, Huggie?
Hey, Huggy. This how you say it. How you doing?
I prefer to say it Huggie. Huggie
Okay.
Pacino. What is Huggie?
Pacino.
What does it mean?
Yeah.
Huggie
Well,
Pacino.
actually, it's Huggy like the Pampers and Pacino like Al Pacino. It stands for undeniably great.
I
With the gift
see,
of
I see, I
intelligence.
see, I see.
Huh?
I see, I see.
Uh,
That's pretty good. That's pretty good. Sadly, I wasn't blessed.
I wasn't done talking. Like I was gonna tell you what it meant.
Carry on.
Anyway, how are you?
I'm good. I'm good. You know.
Where you from? Where you
Just,
from?
I'm from Norway. Where are you from?
America, Memphis, Tennessee.
Memphis. There's a
Yes.
famous song about Memphis, but I can't remember which one.
Walking in Memphis.
Yeah, that's the one.
Yeah,
Do you do that often?
yeah. Nah, you get killed. Not these days, you will. How they mention Bill Street. People get killed on Bill Street all the time, even out of town.
Oh yeah.
It's not a state.
What you gotta do? You gotta use one of those. Gonna use one of those scooters to not get killed.
No, we have guns. We open and carry down here in Tennessee. We have squirters. We have squirters at home. We could take chicks home and make them squirt. You ever done that before?
No. Scooter, not the squirter.
Oh, scooters. Nah, we don't have scooters.
Yeah.
No, you get shot on scooters too, man. You gotta get in a car. You gotta be able to get away. Bullets move too fast.
You can get shot on even if you're carrying a gun openly.
Absolutely. The chances are most likely.
It's a bigger chance you get shot if you're carrying a gun.
Oh, that's not true. Who told you that?
I don't know. If somebody's gonna shoot you, they will shoot you quicker if you're carrying a gun than if you're not.
Nah, that's not how that works.
No. So if I want to kill you, and you have a gun, I'm not gonna shoot you. I will still shoot you, no?
I'm not saying that's not true. What I'm saying is people that get shot are not normally carriers of weapons. The people that get shot is because they did something. There's always a motive. Has nothing to do with you carrying a weapon or not, for that matter.
Okay, so carrying a weapon doesn't make a difference.
No, carrying a weapon is most likely to protect yourself from the act of gun violence.
Okay.
But it's not always the exception. It's not always the exception. There's no 100% guarantee that you actually. It's just like it's never 100% guarantee that you die with a gunshot wound.
Yeah. Have you ever been shot?
They're close. No, I know the shot was shot at.
You've been shot at randomly, or was it like a beef?
I got into it with somebody else. That's not what I meant. I got into it over somebody else's issue. This is why I'm not as friendly as I used to be no more. But I was young, I was stupid, and today I would never do that again. Like if I had somebody that had a beef going on, I would never get involved with that beef.
Yeah. I mean, that's the problem, right?
Huh?
If everyone has a gun, then everyone can shoot people.
Right. But so are you saying that everybody has a gun? That's why people get shot is because of guns, or is the people behind the gun?
I think if you have a gun, it's easier for you to just shoot people than if you don't have a gun. Then you have to, fight with your fists.
Well, that's not what I
First,
asked you.
try to.
What I'm asking is that is it the person behind the gun or the gun itself that's the problem?
I think it's a combination of both.
Okay, I'll give you a perfect example. New York has the most strictest laws in America, along with California and South Carolina and Illinois and New Jersey, right? The most
Mm,
strictest of those states is New York State. New York City,
mm,
you can't have any gun. It is completely illegal, right?
mm.
Why are more people getting killed with guns? And that would necessarily mean that illegal carriers exist, don't they?
First of all, to tackle that issue, we would have to imagine to compare New York to a comparative city where there is no gun laws, right?
Mm-hmm.
And there are no cities in the United States where you can compare New York to, because New York is it's a huge city with a lot of crime, right? And a lot of gang violence or whatever. And there are no other U.S. cities that compare in size and in population, right? So you can't really compare New York to Memphis, because Memphis is a tiny town compared to New York.
I'm not comparing to Memphis at all.
No, I'm not saying you are. I'm just saying that if we're gonna compare New York, we have to have something comparable to compare it to. So that's difficult.
Well, we're comparing it to the idea that guns are not legal in the state, and they're definitely not legal in New York City, because New York City and New York State are two different things. New York City has their own set of laws.
Yeah, but like you were pointing it out to give an example that it doesn't matter if guns are illegal, right? If people are gonna get shot, they're gonna get shot anyway, right? That's what you're trying to. That's what you're trying to point out.
That's not necessarily what I'm saying. What I'm saying to you is, you say it's a combination of both. What I'm trying to prove to you is that the idea of a place that's saying that, hey, if you get caught with a gun, these are the penalties, and they're not legal. Then just because you make a law where guns are not acceptable doesn't mean people won't carry them illegally.
Yeah, I agree 100%. And what I was saying to you was that you can't take New York New York isn't a good example, because New York is a huge town, a huge city with a lot of crime, right? In any city in the world where there is a lot of, poverty and crime, it doesn't matter if their guns are legal or illegal, they will have access to guns.
Exactly.
And second of all, what I want to say is that whenever a country like the United States has, so many guns out in circulation, you can't, that train has already passed. You can't just, stop, tell everyone, oh, you can't buy guns now, and people will still get guns because there's so many guns in circulation. But if you compare it to a country where there was never a law saying that you can have as many guns as you want, then you get a whole different picture. And I guess for United States, it's too late to to make guns illegal, because even if you make guns illegal, there's 7 guns per person or something, crazy amount like that. It's too late.
Right. Yeah, it's kind of like driving. It's kind of like driving vehicles, and vehicle homicides happen often. Do we ban vehicles?
Yeah, kind of, but not really. Because with the I think banning guns as if right now, it wouldn't make a big difference, because there is so many guns out already. But if the guns were banned to begin with, it would be way less murders.
Well, I mean, you don't want to make New York as an example, but you have to. This is a state that once upon a time did not have an official banning of guns. They now have it. There's still heavy gun violence. It doesn't help. There's still heavy gun violence.
It doesn't help because people can buy their guns from New Jersey and come into New York.
Jersey is illegal too.
All right, they can buy it from whatever.
You should say
Vancouver,
Massachusetts or Connecticut. You say Massachusetts or Connecticut, because those states are legally carried, but you have to have a license.
I'm not aware of the the laws in the different states around New York.
I understand that. I'm educating you, because I'm pretty sure you probably don't know, but I don't know. So, okay, for example,
the point
next to New York, you have PA. West of the state is PA. You can carry in PA. East of the state is
Yeah.
Connecticut and Massachusetts. You can carry in both of those states. South of the state is Jersey. You can't carry in Jersey unless you have a right to carry. Now in New York
Okay.
State, they have certain laws based on counties, but New York City as a whole, no.
Yeah. Well, it doesn't matter which state you buy it from, but if there are states, nearby states, or even states that are far away in the same country where you can carry or you can buy easily, then the criminals will just buy it from there, right?
Well, criminals don't
So,
necessarily have to buy. Criminals don't have to necessarily buy. They can get them illegally because they are purchasing.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
So that's
They are
nothing
purchased.
special. Like you could drive to Detroit and bring them guns into New York.
But I don't think there's a big, criminal gang making guns in their basement. These guns are made in proper factories, right? And people bought them legally at some point in time, and then they sell it illegally.
Yeah.
These guns came from somewhere,
Right. So
and they
so
enter
so
into
so
circulation.
so removing guns solve what?
If you could push a magic button right now, and all of the guns in private hands in the United States would disappear magically, it will solve a lot of problems. But you can't do that. So banning guns today wouldn't really do much.
You mean like centuries ago when guns didn't exist and people were getting stabbed with swords and knives and machetes? Is that what you talk about?
Well, centuries ago was a different world, right?
Yeah,
Can't
people were
compare
getting
centuries ago
stabbed
with
with
today.
swords, knives, and machetes. Am I right? Spears,
They were. Why don't you compare it to?
samurais.
Why don't you compare it to a different country where there are less guns?
Educate me.
Well, for example, I don't know. Let's take Norway. I mean, you can always say Norway is a small country, blah blah blah. And there's less crime, etc., and which is true. But at the same time, if I'm in a beef with someone, like in your case, not in your case, but in your friends or your acquaintance's case, he was in a beef with someone, and because there's so much guns out in circulation, there's a bigger chance that the guy who's having a beef will have access to a gun, right? And it's much easier to kill someone with a gun than it is with a knife or with your fists. And it is if I have a gun, for me, pulling a trigger, it can happen in a half a second, and it can be in a state of, if I'm super agitated and super angry or super pissed off, I might just pull the gun, pull the trigger instantly, and this guy is dead. Or he might not be dead, but at least there's a big chance that he's dead. But if I have to go home, grab a knife, come back, in that time period, I might, get a hold of myself and think, what am I doing?
Well,
You know what I mean?
yeah, I understand what you're saying. Think of it like this though. The gun is just a tool. All right. It can't do
agree with that.
anything without your intent, right? Now, you're right.
I agree.
I could just pick this gun up and I think, but that's where discipline comes into play. And that's where it comes into play about training yourself, because nobody would jump behind the wheel without learning how to drive. Because if you don't know how to drive, you will literally run into someone and you'll kill someone, maybe even more than one person. It will cause a pileup, for that example. Like, for example, right now where I'm at, it's been snowing all week. And we got like 12 inches of snow, and it went up to like 15 inches. It's just out of control, right? So the fact that most people can't drive in the snow, what they do is they stay home. But there's some people who know they can't drive in this particular weather. They're going to get out here and they're going to possibly hurt somebody. Now, do you say to yourself that the cars are at fault? Because there's numerous homicides around the world with vehicles. It's been like that for decades, right? Do we blame the car? Do we blame the human being for jumping behind the car with no discipline or no regards of discipline of
We don't.
training?
We
driving
blame. We blame. Yeah, we blame the human being, obviously, and also when a guy kills a person, we also blame the human being, right? I'm not saying we should blame the gun. I'm just saying that having so many guns in circulation makes it easier for people that are stupid or people that are willing to kill people to easily get access to guns. If
Right.
there was imagine in a dystopian future where every single phone has a bomb inside of the phone, right? Let's say your phone,
Yeah.
there's a bomb inside of it,
Right.
and every single other person can at any time send a message to your phone, and your phone will explode, killing you.
Right.
Right?
Right.
That is a technology that makes it super easy to kill someone. Right? So
Right.
do you think it would be fair? It would be smart to say like, oh yeah, it's your right to have access to this technology?
Yeah.
Okay. So you wouldn't mind every single person in the world to be able to at any point in time send a text message to your phone and explode your phone, killing you.
Well, those are enhancements to a device. Can't blame the enhancement on the device itself.
Yeah, but then
It's the same. It's the same as having a computer, where you are allowed to surf the internet. But the irresponsibility would be if I download a movie and I get a letter from the internet service provider and they tell me that I caused copyright infringement. I have broken the law, but I've had the access to do something for free. You get what I'm saying?
Yeah. I understand what you're
I
saying.
know my intent is that I know what I'm doing is not legal, and I did it, and I got caught, even though it was accessible to me, and I didn't pay a dime. And with the help of this internet, I got it.
Yeah, but I don't think that really answers my question. At least I don't understand how it does. My point is that
you have to separate the scenario from the phone. You have to.
You have to, yes. But when you compare a car to a gun, you are comparing a device, which is a car, which primary purpose is to get a person from point A to point B. A gun's primary purpose is...
It causes accidents. Are we going to ignore that?
It does. No, that's
what I'm saying. So, okay, cool. So now that we got that understood...
Not the purpose,
hold on. Now that we got that understood, guns kill people. Yes.
That's their primary purpose.
Kill people. Wait a minute. Cars kill people.
That's not their primary purpose.
No, the purpose is for... No. The purpose of a gun is not to kill. The purpose of a gun is to protect the person that's holding that gun. That's incorrect. The purpose of a gun is not to kill. The possibility of a gun is murder or death. That's true. It's like the same thing with a knife. You have no intent on killing somebody if you pull a knife. You have intent on protecting yourself. Now, most cases, people get the knife because they have every intent to stab somebody because they want to kill someone. The intent comes first before anything. That's why I always use the word intent. Every intention, meaning that if I get behind the wheel, my intent is to drive. But if I'm drunk, my intent is that I know willfully I'm not in my a sober state of mind, and I could be doing something wrong, and I could cause an accident. Same thing with the gun. If I'm irresponsible with this gun, for example, if I don't clean it, it can malfunction. If I don't use it responsibly, and if I have a high temper or a high head, or or quote unquote drunk or high or whatever, the irresponsible person behind the gun is what goes wrong when someone does get killed. Now, somebody may get killed and it could be self-defense. That's also a scenario. Somebody could get killed, but it could have been my life or his life, and I'm defending myself. That's the purpose of a gun, is for protection. That's all.
In the same way, I can start doing this, like rationalize in the same manner as you, and say the purpose of this hypothetical phone that I described to you is that if I know someone is going to kill me, I can protect myself by killing him first. Does it make that this technology should be available to everyone?
There's not a law that says that that's acceptable. Find a law where that's acceptable for the phone to be used as a bomb and acceptable for self-defense.
Yeah, but we could make a law.
You're right. You're right. You could kill somebody. You could kill somebody, but it's acceptable as self-defense in any court of law.
We could. we could make a law that says it is acceptable.
Could,
Laws
but it don't
laws are
exist.
made
Could.
by people.
Could. No,
They
wait a
don't.
minute. Could. Wait, look, I got you. Could, but it hasn't existed yet. Let's talk
Okay.
about what does
So,
exist. Self-defense
but
for your gun and the right to carry your gun and the fact that you have literally defended yourself and people have been killed by the gun from a person who owns one has always been a proper way of saying you have defended yourself and you can't be criminally charged. It's happened so many times.
I'm not against that particular part of the law. I
I'm not
think
saying you have to be
self-defense.
against it. I'm just saying, no,
No,
you
no.
don't have to be against it. Just say that I'm correct. That people have died at the hands of guns where it was self-defense because everything falls in line as legal standards.
Yeah. I believe, as I said earlier, I said if there was an opportunity to snap your finger and all of the guns in the United States in private collection would disappear, I think there would be less gun murders and less death in total. But I don't believe that making it illegal today will make any difference because there's already way too many guns in circulation.
Right.
Let's see what this guy says.
You're good.
What up, boy?
Hey, how you doing? um, I like to go back to the old days when guns didn't exist. People got killed in many wars, many fights, and they had swords, they had machetes, they had knives, spears, bow and arrows. So
Even in the
guns
old
are-
days, I don't think people
Yeah,
were
like-
like
do you know the average person that owns a gun is it legal? Yes, you're right. The average person that has a gun is not legally a legal owner. Yes, you're right. That's the issue too. Cracking down on illegal gun owners is a thing. I don't think removing guns will save anything because we still got knives. And then we're gonna find certain type of ways, just like with people in jail, they don't have guns. They create knives. They create sharp
But
objects.
people
They
in jail
create
is a specific population.
No. I'm
inclined
saying
to-
that there's no gun. No, I'm saying there's no guns in jail, but they create ways to kill each other without their bare hands. They literally do this
Yes.
because there's no guns. You can't
But-
sneak a gun you can't sneak a gun in jail. You can't.
You can't take a specific situation and just say like, oh, because people were killed with knives as well, can kill with knives, then we should make every single device that kills available.
The reason I'm saying it because once upon a
Would
time
you
guns
be-
didn't exist. Once upon a time guns
Would
did
you-
not exist and people were getting killed with swords, knives, machetes, spears, bow and
Once
arrows.
upon a time, people were.
This is a
Once
fact.
upon a time,
Are you
people
going
were-
are you going to argue a fact? That's a fact, is it not? Yes or no?
That is a fact. That is a fact, but it doesn't really make any sense to talk about that fact. That's like saying once upon a time people were.
So there was more centuries of those weapons before guns were made, correct?
Correct.
That's how you lose the argument. Let's listen to the message.
I don't.
If you make
don't
one
think that-
knife and you take another knife and you put one gun and you have a gun, then maybe there will be more guns and maybe more knives, and then this is basically your guys' discussion.
Well, tell them what your discussion is, because I'm under the impression that you remove guns, we going back to knives, and we gonna go get some
Here's
swords.
the thing. What you're saying is that. What you're saying is that a long time ago there was knives and people were killing each other, but long time ago people were also drinking water from the fucking dish where other people were taking a shit. You can't compare what was happening for 200 years ago with what's happening today.
You can't compare taking
You
a
have to
shit and drinking from a well when there's objects of the intent. Like I said, this is why I said I'm fair on both ends. We can go back to that time, and I could always mention the intent with this sword. What do you plan to do with it? Is it for protection, or are you trying to kill someone? It's always intent.
If you're
Always.
in a war for 500 years ago, obviously you use the sword for killing, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, you can't compare a war for 500 years ago with some
But there were
random
people who
dude
carried. But there were
in a
people who
hood
carried
having a
swords.
gun.
But there were people who carried swords for what? Protection, correct?
No, they carry swords to fight and kill people in a war.
See, there you go. See, now you're saying that everyone with a sword has the intent to kill or hurt somebody.
Yeah, but I don't think I know
That's
for
not
a fact
true.
that
We
random
clearly
farmers,
know that's not true, right?
random farmers in the Middle Ages weren't walking around with swords.
They were behind their back. Go look it up.
No, they were not. I don't need to look it up.
They
I know.
had long swords behind their back, or they would have them on their hip.
Not
They
farmers.
would come up
Not
like
the farmers.
like a gun host. No, yeah, we're talking about farmers. Farmers have a different agenda. They're not walking around. They're not shopping. A farmer deals with his farm where he grows and things of that nature. That's a whole nother scenario. We're talking about people like me and you who get up and go to work every day, and we're just out and about.
People like
right?
me and you didn't exist at the time.
I understand, but we can't be talking. If that's the case, we can't talk about what we didn't exist, right? If that's what you're gonna say by your logic.
Exactly. So I'm saying don't compare something for 500 years ago.
But I do know the history of swords. Every sword was not 20 inches long, 30 inches long. Some of them were 7 inches long. Some of them were 5. Some swords used to be like a gun holster. They would literally just sit in the hip, and you was able to carry this gun. And then some would have pocket knives. They would literally go in the back of their pocket. I used to have them, I call them pocket knives. And of course, clothing changed because we used to wear certain type of clothing. Jeans didn't exist. Certain type of pockets didn't exist. We get that. So what I'm saying to you is that everybody that owned a sword or a knife was not having every intention to kill or harm anyone. People carried these weapons for protection. It would be the same thing for a person with a bat, the same thing with a person with a knife, a machete, or whatever the case may be. These particular things can be used for many reasons, like farming and etc.
I'm gonna ask you one question.
What's up?
Let's go back in time to the 1300s.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Imagine the population of Europe is about 70 million people. In the 1300s, that was roughly how many people lived in Europe. How many big swords do you think existed for each? Like, how many persons was there for one big sword that was able to kill people easily? What do you think?
I'm not sure.
Okay, I'm not sure either, but I know that the vast majority of the population were farmers, and the only people that actually had weapons were the knights and their militia, and they were probably like less than 1%. So for every 100 person, there was maybe one guy who had the armor and the capability to go to war and kill people. And the case today in the US is that there is at least one gun for each person out there. So you can't really compare those two. Either way, I don't think it makes sense to compare these two. We're living in a different age, right?
I get what you're saying.
Anyway.
Are you saying that European citizens did not have the right to own knives or swords?
I'm saying that they didn't have right to own anything. No, at least not the farmers.
You got proof to that?
But I'm not saying.
Other than farmers, can you prove that?
I don't think I can prove that right now. No.
Okay.
But
I
am very certain. I'm very certain that the average farmer didn't have a long sword or long bow or whatever. The hunters maybe did have bows. The soldiers, the king's army or whatever, the duke's militia and the levies, they had weapons. But the random farmer, which was the vast majority of people, they didn't have access to military grade weapons. But I don't think we should even talk about it because it doesn't make sense to compare today with like
the history. Hold on. Here we go. The history of here's a bit of history behind the iconic knife. 600 to 500 BC. That is considered before Christ. The oldest pocket knife or jackknife ever discovered dates back to around 600 500 BC. First century Romans were the next group to really use the pocket knife. Now we all know all Romans are not quote unquote farmers. They aren't all people who fought wars. Roman people were the people of Rome. We agree with this, right?
Yes, but that's not what they say.
No, that's what I'm reading.
Also, a pocket knife is not a sword.
That's the start of it. A pocket knife and the extension of it being a sword that's longer. This is where I said when I mentioned sword, I mentioned knives and I mentioned pocket knives, right? So
Yeah,
it's still a weapon.
Pocket knives don't matter.
It's still a weapon. You can't even argue that. It's still a weapon.
A pocket knife is not a weapon.
Okay, it's not.
No, it's not.
Okay.
Not in the sense that a gun is a weapon.
Listen.
So
let me
likewise,
listen to this message right quick. Hold on.
We had in Europe in the 1300s, we had feudals. How do you say that? Feudal something, Jacob.
Futile.
Where one big
Feudal
landowner or someone owned a large amount of land, and they had farmers who rented the land from him. So they were basically his slaves.
Yeah, and those guys didn't have weapons. But like, if you're gonna say a pocket knife is comparable to a AK-47, then likewise you can say let's give access to all of
I didn't do that. See, you creating this something that you saying somebody say. I'm not comparing.
Yeah,
I'm not. I didn't
well,
say
you're saying that if we take away the AK-47s, they're just gonna use pocket knives, which is fine. Let them do that. It's much better.
Wait a minute. Why the AK-47? AK-47 is totally different from a handgun.
All right, the handgun.
You see what I'm saying?
A handgun is.
But they're taking assault weapons away from us in the country we live in. They've done it in Canada. They've taken assault weapons where you can't carry them at all. You can carry handguns, you can't carry it. So that's a different argument as well. So let's just go with handguns compared to knives, which is something I didn't do, which is fair. If you want to do that, I get it. You win that argument. But you win the argument that guns are not like pocket knives. But I'm saying clear as that, you take away handguns and assault rifles too. We're going back to knives because somebody got to be able to protect it. We're going to do that because somebody wants to protect themselves because somebody just Huh?
Yeah, and that's the case. That's the case in most of the world. People don't have guns and they go back to knives, and they can't kill each other with knives as easily as they can kill with guns. That's the whole point.
I bet you're gonna have people trying to rob you and me with those knives. Oops.
Yes.
Let me listen to this message. Give me a second.
And what's the difference?
Huggie Pacino, can I ask you a question?
Yes, Zark, X away. He could have just asked me in that message, but anyway.
Yeah. Axe away, brother.
What I'm saying is that you have to consider the fact that a person can rob you now with the gun, just like they could rob you now with the knife. If you don't have a knife, what's going to happen? You can't protect yourself.
Well, you carry a knife.
There you go. You know what happens is knives are going to become popular again. We're going to be buying them. Everybody's going to own a knife.
Not everyone has a knife. Already everyone has a knife at home.
And what happened with the handgun? Because it used to be like a 38. What we used to call a snub nose. What do they call that little pistol? I think it was called a snub nose. I may be wrong. But it went from a single shot to a double barrel shotgun to a handgun. And then it was a 38 with 6. Then it had you had the ones with then you had the handguns with the clips that hold like 6 and they hold 10 and now it holds like 17. Whatever the case may be. Then we went from that to AK-47s and M16s, and the guns have gotten bigger and bigger and bigger, right? But if you take all of that stuff away, we're going back to another form of protection because everybody can't just use their hands because somebody's going to have a knife. And what's the old saying? You cannot bring a knife to a gunfight. However, you can't bring your hands to a knife fight. You're gonna lose unless you got the most incredible skills to make that knife, to miss with the knife or whatever the case may be. Then you're gonna get stabbed.
Yeah, but I think that it's easier to avoid a knife murder than it is to avoid a gunshot murder.
Yes, you can say that. You can say that, but until we actually move all the guns and get rid of them, that is to be determined.
It's not to be determined because the rest of the world doesn't have guns.
Yeah, but you for example, I want you to think about it. We're just saying Chicago.
Let's say what Zarko is saying.
Go.
Do you feel safer when you see police with guns around? Or do you feel safer when there's nobody? You know that nobody in that particular country is carrying a gun or Yeah.
Let me play the second message.
I'd rather be robbed by someone that has a knife because A, if I'm skilled enough, I can disarm them,
That's what I said.
and B, I don't know. A gun is just it's more black and white. It may shoot. Likelihood is I'm dead.
Right. Absolutely. I agree. Now, my thing with the gun and the knife thing, like he just said, the skill, I could disarm it with the knife. I just mentioned that. The skill is the only thing that's gonna stop you from getting stabbed. But some people don't have those hand skills. Now, I'm gonna use Chicago as a point to make. Chicago in its own right, one city with 2.7 million people there. There's over 500 gangs there, right? All of those gangs with no guns. Can you imagine? This person on the news was stabbed and killed, and this person was stabbed in the neck, stabbed in the head, stabbed in the back.
How is that different? How is that different from this person was shot?
What I'm saying is that people still get stabbed. People still will get killed. Because if you remove one form of weaponry, we're going to get another form of weaponry.
Let's say you want to kill someone. You're in a gang, right?
Yeah.
You can, if you have access to a gun, you can drive next to their house and you can just shoot through the doors and windows or whatever. Just shoot them. If you don't have a gun, you have to go to him. You have to pull out the knife. Then he's gonna pull out his knife, and it's gonna be messy. Who's gonna win? Who knows? Both of you might die.
History
Right.
has shown you. History has shown you even in the 50s and the 60s when gangs were a thing, they didn't have guns. They had bats. They had chains. They had knives.
They have guns now.
And people were getting killed. Hold on. And people were getting killed before they were using guns. It wasn't until like the late 60s where these people end up getting guns, and the next thing you know, it come the 70s, it come the 80s, it come the 90s, and it's gotten out of control. But it's the gangs, it's the actual affiliation, it's the street mentality, and as I always keep saying, it's always the intent behind the gun. And I'll agree, there are people who are like myself, who are legal carriers, who have no discipline. They don't know how to clean their guns. They don't know how to aim. They don't know how to shoot. They don't know how to control their anger. They don't know how to think and make good decisions. They do dumb things like they don't learn the law. This is why people, even if you're legal carrier, you fuck around and you end up in the wrong state. Because I'm trying to move to another state, for example. I'm moving to a state where I know I can legally carry. I made sure before I stepped foot in that town, I did all my paperwork. I got my license and everything so I can have my right to carry before I lived there. Most people don't even think like that. They just bring their gun because they do say you can bring your gun as long as you keep it in the house and you got it like 30 days. No, I don't want to play like that. I'd rather get my license and then come there. That way when I drive to the state where I'm moving my furniture in, I don't have to worry about doing all that. I got my right to carry already before I even step foot in the town.
I have one final question for you. One single final question. Would you feel safer as you muted yourself, dude? Yeah. Would you feel safer? Would you feel, let's say you're going through the most dangerous hood in Memphis, right? At the middle of the night. Mm-hmm. Do you feel safer if everybody has a gun, including yourself? Or do you feel safer if nobody has a gun, including yourself?
Being that I'm a carrier, I feel safe with my gun. I don't feel safe with their gun. Even if there could be 20 family members, I'm not safe with their gun. No, I'm giving you an example. I'm not safe with my own family member's gun. I'm safe with my gun.
I know, but the question was, you have two choices, right? Which one is more safer? You walk around the hood and nobody has a gun, or you walk around in the hood and everyone has a gun? What is more safer?
Mine.
So you're safer that everyone has a gun, including yourself?
Yes, self-preservation is first. All
right, then
if I don't have a gun, then it could be somewhat like can I trust them type of thing? Can I trust them to just make sure I don't get shot? But I'm not.
Yeah, but they don't know. They also don't have a gun, right? You have to consider that if you don't have a gun, they don't have a gun. This is
that's why I say I don't go nowhere in my city without my gun. I don't.
Exactly, because you know everyone has a gun. But if no one had a gun,
No.
you're not answering my question.
No. That's not what I carry my gun.
Imagine you come to my city. Let's say
Hold
you
on.
came to
Can I
my
answer the
city.
question? Can I answer that? I carry a gun for
You're
my
not answering.
protection. No, wait. I
Alright.
carry the gun for my protection, so nobody don't harm me. I don't carry the gun because
Okay.
everybody got a gun. Because if that's the
Okay.
case,
So you
I
live in
think we
Memphis,
all.
right?
Because I think everybody just if that's what you're saying by your logic, everybody carry guns just because everybody got a gun. That's not why everybody
Yeah.
carries a gun. Illegal guys who do illegal shit, who are dealing with criminal activity, they carry guns because everybody got guns. Because they don't even have the right to carry them. And they know if I get caught with this gun, the penalties, the pros and cons that come with that, they know they're going to get dealt with. So they carry the guns because they got issues. I don't have beef. I don't have drama. And I'm not concerned about no guy that's looking to kill me because I have never done anything wrong to anybody.
Okay.
I carry my
I'm
gun
gonna tell
because
you.
hold on. I'm gonna tell you this. Once upon a time, I'm at the gas station pumping gas, and there's a shootout in the parking lot. That has nothing to do with me
Well, why is that? Because everyone
because
has a gun.
it's called a random act of violence from somewhere else that don't concern me. But if the shots come at me, I got the right to shoot back, and it's a way to protect
I
myself from
agree.
getting killed.
I agree. 100%. But you still didn't really answer my question. But imagine this:
I did.
in your town, you didn't. You went on.
I said if I don't have a gun, because you said if I don't have a gun,
No,
would you be?
that's not my question.
That was the question you asked.
I'm
first
gonna
question
rephrase
you asked
in another way.
Okay,
I'm
go
gonna
ahead.
rephrase it in another way.
Okay.
Let's say in your town, everyone has a gun right now, right? In the hood, right? When you walk through the hood with your gun, do you feel safer then, or if you were to come to visit me in my town where nobody has a gun? I haven't seen a single person in like 25 years that has a gun, or I haven't heard a single news story in 25 years where a person was shot with a gun. And you came to my town and you were walking and you didn't have a gun. Which one would be more safe?
Obviously the place where, if I did my research like you said, 25 years nobody was shot, I like my chances to not have a gun.
All right, that's because one of the reasons we have 25 years with nobody getting shot is because no one has a gun.
Okay.
Again, I'm not saying that you can take away people's guns in the United States. It's not going to work because everyone already has. There's so much guns in circulation. I'm just saying that if there was a magic button where you could remove everyone's guns, I think it would be safer.
Bro, you're not answering the question.
Hold on, let's get
There's
this
a
understood.
saying in the Balkans, and it goes like this: if you're gonna bring your gun, then you have to be ready to pull the trigger. So if you're carrying a gun and you're not ready to kill, just leave it at home, son.
I'm sorry. Is this a thing where people try to tell me that like people carry guns? Like, what is your purpose for thinking that people carry guns? What do you think their purpose for carrying a gun?
Are you asking me?
Yeah, you.
I think I think most people in the United States are carrying a gun for protection. I think the large majority of people are carrying a gun for their protection, but I think that comes as a result of the fact that a lot of, not most, but a small minority of people, a minority of number of criminals are carrying a gun for nefarious purposes. Because they are doing that, then the large majority of people, yeah. But if nobody had a gun, then you wouldn't have to carry a gun. That's all I'm saying, right?
Right. And like you said, this is America. It's kind of hard to remove them because there's so many of them. So yes,
It's
I
very
carry
hard.
a gun.
I mean, it's impossible. I think it's impossible. There's no way. There's no way you can do that. It's too late.
Right.
What you can do is try to make it so that there's less and less guns coming out into circulation. At least, make the guns less dangerous for mass murders and shootouts and shit like that. Like assault rifles, remove those at least, something like that. What's up, listeners? What do you think about this podcast? Looks like our friend is reconnecting. he's having some issues with his connectivity. But it has been a good discussion. Yeah. Thank you for listening. Thank you for listening. Fuck the house.
Ain't no coming back from here. Little light.
Thank you for watching. Make sure you hit the like button and make sure you subscribe. And don't forget to hit the notification bell to receive all notifications from Huggie Pacino. In the description box, you can find all 10 channels. HP Media 1 and 2 are the 2 new channels. You can also subscribe to my dog Julio and Huggie Pacino 1 through 6. And there's also a Huggie Pacino Effect throwback channel. And you can also contact me via email and phone. And if you would love to donate to the channel, here's where you could donate: Cash App and PayPal. The link's on the screen.
Donations, 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 gifts, gifts.
Huggie Pacino certified.